It really happened. Anthony Richardson played in an NFL football game for the Indianapolis Colts, and he was good. It was good. It was really good, honestly. Despite the loss, the Colts were never going to win. It was week 1. I was really, really happy with how Anthony Richardson played. Let's get into it. Once again, disclaimer, not a football guy, and I am biased, so keep those things in mind. But I want to start with some of the bad stuff. I think this was a nice welcome to the NFL moment for Anthony Richardson, where he targeted this Mo Alley Cox on this corner route. Admittedly, kind of a weird concept where Pittman and Cox were like right together. And theoretically has like a window here, but this is a very much like, yeah, Tyson Campbell is a superstar NFL corner, and you're going to be playing these week in and week out, and there's going to need to be a little bit more touch overall. But I think for all of like the weakness shit we saw today, it was basically as expected. Like the accuracy was not perfect, the placement was not perfect, as we see on a play like that. As well, there were a lot of just like low misses, high misses. I don't know. I'm not going to comment much because I just like don't really have much of value to add here. He missed throws that was expected. He will get better at these kind of easy throws with no pressure. I am not particularly worried about them. Anthony Richardson has always been awesome versus pressure, and that continued today. He was under a lot of pressure today. The Jags have a really good edge rushing duo, Miles Jack, Trayvon Walker. The Colts O-line, especially this right side, is problematic, but it was so much like one quick read and go for Steichen and Anthony Richardson, where he has his hot read and Josh Downs, blitzer barreling down in his face, stands in, eats a hit. Josh Downs is going to be fucking awesome, by the way. Like, he was the only Colts receiver with a pulse today. Pittman kind of, but Downs is the hot read here. Blitz comes out. He knows that since the zone pressure is coming from here, there's probably not going to be coverage, and Richardson fits that in before the linebacker can get over. It's really great stuff. He's always been awesome against pressure, and I think that was the same today as well. The simple stuff is what we're going to talk about as, like, the thing about this performance is it wasn't even like a normal rookie game, aside from like some of the rookie mistakes that we've talked about and we'll get into. Like, there weren't that many crazy highs. It was like a very simple, solid game. Like 200 plus yards, a touchdown on the grounds and through the air was like the Colts' whole offense as kind of expected. But it's stuff like this where presumably Richardson reading this guy going in motion, DB doesn't follow all the way, single high safety, probably cover 3, which means that this like double vert concept is going to either open up the seam or the flat. The linebackers or DBs here stay down, and he hits the seam right at the middle. It's like extremely simple, like the most basic NFL pre-snap reads, but Richardson's doing it, and he is 21 years old, and a lot of rookies who are much older and players who are much older don't do this kind of stuff. I loved all of the pistol stuff that the Colts ran, some of this like orbit motion. I think we're going to see a lot of Josh Downs out of the backfield, which is great, but good and bad on a play like this where Richardson tends to stare his guys down quite a bit, which I'm sure will get him into trouble at some point. He's looking the whole way at Michael Pittman, but this is what he can do because he can get away with it. Look at this zip. This is where the ball is like traveling through all of these defenders. I wish I could see like the all-22 to get his view, but this is a very congested middle of field, and Anthony Richardson zips it into Pittman, who separates really well. I think people were probably a little too harsh on Pittman today. I think overall he had a pretty good game. Great plant here. Anthony Richardson stays in the pocket. Easy dime on those like across field throws. More simple stuff versus pressure, which I liked a lot. Another very simple like RPO hot read. Sees pressure coming in his face. The Jags send 6. And even though this defender is like floating towards Mike Pittman, Richardson knows that pressure comes from there, stands in, sets feet, fires, easy completion for a first down with his incredibly strong arm zipping that ball. And it's probably going to take time for these Colts receivers to adjust to just how strong Richardson's arms are. And like, this is what I mean when I say it wasn't like a normal rookie first game, where this is just a good NFL throw that every high-level quarterback has to make. 3rd down and 9. Not at like exact middle, not the near side hash mark. Look at the zip he puts on this ball to hit Pittman in this stride on this deep like speed out, beating the corner to his spot. This is where the arm strength, especially since the Colts dialed up, like I don't think they dialed up a single deep shot, at least not that I remember. Richardson being able to use his zip to get these balls out in front of receivers. It's really, really impressive stuff. And Richardson is definitely going to be difficult to sack, in part because he's willing to do shit like this, which is a little risky and he probably shouldn't do. But it is so hard to bring him down. He is so hard to tackle. And I do wish that he was a little bit better at taking his checkdowns early. I think if he throws this out to Deion Jackson right here, who admittedly had a really, really awful game, then you complete 5, 6, 7 yards, but it's a little late at this point. Or if Richardson just scrambled. He got like hurt or banged up a little early in the game on a hit, and he seemed a bit timid running after that. Which I don't actually hate. Like, as much as I want to see him run around, I would rather see him not be hurt. Which of course he like was banged up a little at the end. Which again here on a play like this, where this was after the hit, where he has Trayvon Walker barreling down, and I think he does a really good job like ripping this ball away and not throwing it and risking a fumble or a turnover or something like that, because clearly he was targeting this crosser. But again, he has his check down wide open. But more than anything, like just take off. Like you're getting this first down and more. You're Anthony Richardson. You're the best athlete ever. And I don't know if it was like a lack of trust in his legs or coaching telling him to be more cautious about rolling out, which either is possible, and I definitely am not saying that either is wrong, but certainly something I noticed. Even then, like, the legs still work for him. The pocket movement, like the simple little pocket movement that you just expect good quarterbacks to do and don't expect rookies to do, is what Anthony Richardson just does, and he always has. Where Trayvon Walker, who gave the Colts absolute hell, throws himself back, and a lot of quarterbacks would like bail out the left side here or panic and take a sack, but Richardson, simple shuffle up in the pocket, find his check down, and this was like the embarrassing fumble. Yeah, that was really bad, but it's that kind of simple stuff. And I think now we get to the exciting stuff, which was Richardson working outside of structure, which wasn't like super plentiful today because there was a lot of, as expected, like very game plan, very structured, very simple. But when pressure breaks down, we see a fully collapsed pocket. Great little twist here by the Jags front seven. Really, really impressive game from the Jags front seven, I will say. And it's simple. Richardson cuts up his hole, eyes downfield the whole time, doesn't see anything, runs, gets out of bounds, doesn't risk injury, stops the clock in a situation where he needs to do that. Simple stuff, good stuff. This throw or the next throw, I think, is my favorite Anthony Richardson throw of the day, where it's another like immediate bailout on third down. Right tackle gets absolutely cooked by a beautiful spin move. Richardson bailing to the right, across his body, absolute rocket to find the open Michael Pittman, who sat down in that zone. And the off-platform, on-the-move throws, there were some really impressive flashes. We see another play that wasn't a completion. I think this was definitely my favorite throw of the game, where Anthony Richardson immediately forced to bail. Like the play action really was bad just because of how bad like the running back pass protection was, and this side of the ball especially, but immediately forced out of the pocket. Could have maybe hit that check down, but obviously I think this is a good result. The contain's really good, but Richardson keeps his eyes up and sprinting towards the sideline. Absolute bullet, 35 yards in the air, right through Mo Cox's hands. Like, this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect, and Mo Cox has to catch this. And I think they'll adjust to having a quarterback, unlike Matt Ryan or someone like that, or Carson Wentz or Phillip Rivers, who can actually make these kinds of throws with somewhat consistency, with a good amount of consistency. And once that happens, I think the Colts are going to be really dangerous. And then, of course, this was the play right before the injury where this is like the stuff that's going to win the Colts high-level football games in January and beyond, hopefully, where 4th down and 5, nothing open, immediate, like just having a guy who can take over in the way where he's like, okay, I'm gonna scramble and get his first down. Like it's just gonna happen where he runs into a collapsed pocket, uses his change of direction and balance to bounce out. And of course, this is for 99% of football players. This is a tackle for tackle right here. But AR keeps the legs turning and goes for the first down. So yeah, overall, I would say I am very happy with Anthony Richardson and with the Colts in general. Obviously, losing is never fun, but they were competitive against a Super Bowl contender, a legit Super Bowl contender. And like week one curse is week one curse. But like quick stuff versus pressure, the receivers hopefully and the running backs won't have a game this bad again this season. It was really horrific for the most part, and Richardson fought through that adversity and played well despite inconsistent pass protection and honestly not my favorite game managing and play calling by Steichen. He is a rookie head coach too, so I'm not super worried long term, but the arm strength in like basic, intermediate, and short throws flash. And I think this is the stuff that you want to see from like most rookie quarterbacks is like the high draft picks. They have like the high end flashes. Richardson can make every single deep bomb. He can sprint and scramble around and create out of platform. But he is showing in week one that he can be a guy who creates within structure, who keeps the team on schedule, moves the chains, and does all of this simple stuff because of how good of a pocket presence guy he is, how solid he is reading the floor pre-snap based on my amateur eye. I don't know. He's like, I haven't had that much fun watching a Colts loss in years. He's the GOAT. He's the absolute fucking GOAT.